Good morning and welcome to Fast Horses Today. We have a special edition today, Memorial Day, Monday, May 26th. And let's take a moment to remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice to really make this day what it is. So, we may all have family or friends, loved ones that have given that sacrifice. And if you don't have anybody in your family or friends that you knew, someone else does. So you can look up to the sky and say thank you to them. And, thank you for that ultimate sacrifice. And let's everyone have a very safe and blessed Memorial Day. So, of course, Memorial Day also means that folks have a day off from work. And then, horses race usually on Memorial Day, usually ends up being big races, around the country. And that does include Santa Anita. So let's get started at Santa Anita. I've got a couple win bets, and I do like the late pick 5. Santa Anita has put together a really nice card for Memorial Day for Monday with, a lot of races and some Grade 1 races, several stakes races, and a very good card to bet into. So because of those Grade 1s and big stake races, the big boys showed up today. So you've got Flavien Prat back to his old stomping grounds. Irad Ortiz has shown up. Frankie Dettori's shown up. So, you got some big shots showing up here at Santa Anita. Let's see if they can make a difference today. I do want to get started in the fifth race. Fifth race at Santa Anita has an approximate post time of 3:06 Pacific time. So that's 5:06 here in the Central Time Zone. I've got a win bet here in this fifth race. This fifth race is a 1.125 miles on the grass. This is a first level allowance race for 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares. And I do have a horse that I like. I'm going to make a win bet on, and that's a 2-horse, Paradise Lake, for Peter Urton, and Frankie Dettori comes in the ride. So, great to see Frankie back. Always like to see that. Frankie's done such a good job in his comeback since he's, began riding again, or didn't retire, and, showed up in California, has done some great work when he's been there. So he does take over the 2. Frankie's never been on this horse before, but, I like her last several races. She's run on the turf course at Santa Anita, her last 2 specifically. And, at this level, she's running some very live races, I feel. She ended up getting beat. She came third to Lady Claypool, who, went on to win 3 straight three straight races, including a stakes race. And I know she's in the Grade 1 Gamely later today. So Lady Claypool, certainly no pushover. I see she ran with Raw Ability, who Raw Ability had run off a couple races too, and pretty nice horse there for, I believe, the John Sadler barn. And her last race, she ended up running 1.25 miles in a first-level allowance race run by Public Assembly, who Public Assembly is also in the Grade 1 Gamely. So this girl's run with some nice ones. In this race, Hernandez rode her that day, and I thought that he gave her kind of a rough ride, that she was wide the whole time, and, just ended up, the race was carded at 1.25 miles, but certainly looks like she ran a lot longer. And I thought she finished up nicely for all the ground she lost. She shortens up here. I think that should make all the difference. I think Frankie makes a difference. We're going to make a bet on the 2-horse, Paradise Lake, in the 5th race. All right, now let's move over to the 7th race. 7th race does start your late pick 5. It includes all the nice stakes races there, so they did a good job of carding there at Santa Anita today. The 7th race starts out post time of 4:06 Pacific time, 4:08 Pacific time, sorry. So that's 6:08 here in the Central Time Zone. And we're starting out with the Grade 1 Gamely at 1.125 miles on the grass. And these are fillies and mares. This is a Grade 1. So very nice race that they carded here. Some nice horses here, some ship-ins. And I think it makes for a pretty open field. So I'm going to start out this pick 5 with 4 horses. I'm going to put the 4, Public Assembly for Phil D'Amato, Antonio Fresu. This horse 8-1 in the program. D'Amato ended up getting this horse from Chad Brown, at one time. And since he's gotten this horse from Chad Brown, he's run off 2 wins with her. So, he brought her to Santa Anita. She ended up taking care of an allowance field in a nice way, and beat, kind of a live field there. And then also they put her in the Royal Heroine, Grade 3 Royal Heroine. She ended up taking care of that field as well. And, that ended up being a live race. Sneaker came out of there. Sneaker ended up winning a couple days ago. So Public Assembly's on the rise. Phil D'Amato, certainly a guy who does win these graded races there at Southern California on the turf. She's 2 for 2 at Santa Anita. Maybe she can take on a little bit better and do well. So we'll put Public Assembly, the 4-horse. Going to put the 5-horse, who was no-show Sammy Joe. Graham Motion brings this horse in from the east. And Flavien Prat shows up to ride here. So this horse is 7-2 in the program. She comes out of the Grade 1 Jenny Wiley, and there's 2 of them here that come out of the Jenny Wiley, that being the 5 as well as the 8, be your best. And In watching that Jenny Wiley, both of these horses ran kind of flat races, and I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe no-show Sammy Joe might have needed the race because she had been coming off of, a bit of a layoff, so we'll give her some slack there. She's definitely done some nice work at some different tracks. She's won at Aqueduct, she won at Colonial, she won at Laurel. She ended up losing by a nose to Be Your Best. So, she's certainly a nice horse, and Graham Motion definitely knows how to spot him and how to send him. So, no show Sammy Joe is definitely live here. Going to also put the 6-horse Expensive Queen for Brendan Walsh. Kazushi Kimura takes the call. Now, this horse comes off an allowance win at Keeneland. Brendan Walsh had gotten this horse from Europe, and the horse had been running just in kind of, I guess, average races, it seems, there in Europe, but she showed up to Keeneland, and she ran a huge race. I mean, she really showed a nice late turn of foot, and getting up in that race that she won there at Keeneland, allowance race, and nice speed figure. So seems to me like Walsh really liked what he saw out of her, so he's bringing her to California to try the Grade 1. So she's 5-1. Kimura takes the call, which is always a nice thing. So we'll put the 6 Expensive Queen. And then I'm finally going to put the 8 horse, who was Be Your Best, for Safi Joseph. Joseph brings a couple horses here today for the big day, so welcome Safi Joseph. Irad Ortiz also shows up here and takes them out here on Be Your Best. And, she's been a traveler. She's run all over the country, including Santa Anita. She's run several times at Santa Anita. She's running some big races. She ended up coming second to Anisette a couple times in California, which certainly no shame in there, because a couple years back, Anisette was the Queen of California. So, she's run over the Santa Anita grass course, where she's got 4 starts and a second, and that second was in the Grade 1 American Oak. So, certainly she's got some back class to her. As I mentioned, she kind of ran a flat race in the Jenny Wiley, and, maybe it was just, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe she didn't like the footing. I don't know. But we'll give her a break there, based on what she's done previously. She ran a huge race on Pegasus World Cup Day and winning the turf race, Philly Mare turf race, in a really big race there. So Be Your Best. I think she'll be on the lead. We'll see if she can take him a mile and an eighth. So we got the 4, 5, 6, and 8 there in the Grade 1 game league. All right, now let's move over to the 8th race of the day. 8th race is the Gold Cup. Now, this is the Hollywood Gold Cup. 1.25 miles on the dirt. There's a Grade 2 now, and there's a horse I really like here. I've got a single here, and I'm going to make the win bet on this horse. I'm going to go with the 4-horse Extensive. Extensive from Michael McCarthy. Flavian Pratt takes the call. Great deal there. Love it. This horse is the 4-horse. He's 3-1 in the program. Now, if you've been watching Fast Horses Today over the last several months, I've talked about this horse extensively, and said that I think this horse is going to be a stakes horse in Southern California. It might be Michael McCarthy's representative in the older horse stakes horse division. So looks like that's coming true to fruition here. I think this horse had run some really nice races at Santa Anita this past winter and spring, and 2-turn races. You can argue and say, well, what has he beaten? And I can understand that completely, but I feel it's more of the progression of this horse. I mean, this horse certainly bred to go the distance, by City of Light out of a Dahir mare, and the horse has proven that he likes ground. Now, Kyle Frey had been on this horse for his last couple wins, and they made the switch to Flavian Pratt. No knock on Frey, did a great job there, but when you can get Pratt on your horse in a graded race, he certainly moves horses up. So I'm going to go with Extensive here as my single. I'm also going to make a win bet on Extensive. And, pretty much the whole Pick 5 ticket hinges on Extensive. And I trust in Michael McCarthy. This horse, said to me he's going to be a stakes horse, and apparently said it to him too, because he put him here in the Gold Cup. I think he found a good spot to try graded stakes competition here at 1.25 miles. The horse he does have to beat is the 5-horse Skippy Longstocking. Certainly understand why this horse is the favorite in the program and why he'll get a lot of action there. This horse has done a lot of nice work. He's a $3 million earner. Always shows up in these big races, and has run around the country as well, including running at Santa Anita one time. That was back a couple years back. He had run in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, coming third to Cody's Wish back a couple years ago. Skippy Longstocking certainly kept good company, but you know what? I just feel like it's time for Extensive, so that's where I'm going here. I'm going to single the 4 in Extensive, and move on there in the Hollywood Gold Cup. Let's move over to the 9th race. 9th race is the Shoemaker Mile. This is a Grade 1 mile on the grass. always a fixture on Memorial Day weekend. They put together a nice field here in this Grade 1. And, certainly some horses we've seen running in California for a while, as well as a couple of shippers. And I've got 3 horses here I'm going to put in. I feel one of these 3 should take care of the business here and get this pick 5 progressed along. So first, I'm going to put the 5 horse, who is Formidable Man, for Michael McCarthy, Umberto Rispoli. This horse is certainly familiar in California, doing a lot of his work there in California and winning, the Grade 1 Hollywood Derby over at Del Mar, winning a Grade 1 Frankie Kilroe Mile, which is a Grade 1. And I really like that Kilroe Mile win. That race, for a Grade 1 mile race, that race, ended up having slow fractions that he had to run into. And he certainly got that job done. And that's not always easy. Sometimes, in these races, horse can put up some slow fractions and they'll stick around. So I really like the way Formidable Man really didn't have things going his way and still got up in a very nice race there. I think the mile distance should be completely fine for him. 3 out of 5 wins at the mile distance, certainly like Santa Anita. 2 out of 4 starts were wins in 1 second. So Formidable Man at 3-1 certainly makes sense. I'm going to put the 7, Mi Hermano Ramon, for Mark Glatt. Mark Glatt gets Hector Berrios on the horse here today. And, Mi Hermano Ramon has certainly done some nice work over the past year or so in California. And, he won the Seabiscuit, which is always the big race there at Del Mar in the fall Turf Festival. Very nice race there that he won in the Seabiscuit. On opening day at Santa Anita, he ended up coming second to Johannes, which certainly no shame in that, in the San Gabriel. Ran a very nice race there. They took him to Florida to run in the Pegasus World Cup. Ran a nice race, certainly an even race there. His last race, he ended up running in the Kilroe Mile with Formidable Man and a couple of these others. And, he ran 5th as a favorite that day. But, I'm not going to fault him. Just like, I'm giving credit to Formidable Man, I'm going to give a pass to Mi Hermano Ramon. This horse has been running in longer races. They shortened him to the mile in the Kilroe. It was a slow race, slow fractions. And, he just got kind of going late. So, I'll give him a pass there. I think the fractions are going to be much faster today. There's a lot of speed signed on, and Mi Hermano Ramon, certainly, could finish up nicely. And Hector Berrios has been doing a lot of nice work on the turf. So let's see if Hector gets a big race here. So we'll put the 7 in, Mi Hermano Ramon. And then finally, I'm going to put the 9 horse, who is Goliad. Goliad for Richard Mandela. Mike Smith takes the call. Now, Goliad's definitely done some nice work at Santa Anita. Now, this is just pure speed. This horse is pure speed. That's how he's won his races. That's how he's won his races at Santa Anita at the mile distance. He's won races, and he tore up Kentucky Downs last fall and winning 2 races there. And, in a very aggressive move, Mandela ran that horse twice in that short meet. So, they gave this horse a break. We hadn't seen him since the Breeders' Cup Mile back at Del Mar in the fall. Gave this horse a very needed break, which he probably needed. We'll see if this horse comes back ready to roll. It's probably just one way to go, Mike Smith. And Mike Smith certainly has been a guy that very, very good on the front end on the turf. I've seen it happen many, many times. So we'll put the 9. So we've got the 5, 7, 9 in the Grade 1 Shoemaker Mile. All right, now we end the day with a couple maiden races here. So the 10th race, this is a restricted maiden race at 5.5 furlongs. A maiden special weight. Now, I don't really understand. I'll be quite honest here. I don't understand the restriction here. It says restricted maidens, fillies, and mares 3 and up. I don't know what the restriction is. It doesn't mention any type of state bred restriction or an auction restriction. So not too sure what's going on here. But anyway, I'm going to put 5 horses in here. I feel like it's a very open race. I don't have a strong opinion. I'll put the 1, Sella Hall, for Stephen Miotti. Carmona takes the call here. Now, Carmona's not an apprentice anymore. He's a journeyman. We'll see what he can do here from the rail. Some decent works. Miotti definitely get a horse ready to go first time. We'll put him in. I'm going to put the 4 horse, Approval Rating, OJ Harigi on the out of his barn, and Ace Espinoza. Now, Espinoza got beat a neck in this same type of level race. Ran a nice race. If certainly, could duplicate that race, would be very tough here. That horse is 3-1. I'm going against the favorite in the 5 horse, Tapatia Leah. This is a Stephen Miotti horse as well. This horse is 9-5 in the program. I'm throwing this horse out, so we'll see what happens there. Hope the horse gets bet on a ton, and I hope the horse runs like I think that she will, and not win the race. So, she's had plenty of chances. I don't feel she's had a whole lot of excuses going against her here. Going to end up putting the 7. It was a long shot, bottom dollar. Isidro Tamayo. This horse is 20-1 in the program, and Escobedo takes the call. And Escobedo's been riding very nicely. And, I looked here, and I see the 5 and the 7 have run a couple times. They've run very similar races. So I'm throwing out the 9-5 favorite. I'll put in the 20-1, see what happens here. This horse might turn the tables. We'll see if the long shot comes in. Then we'll put the 2 outside horses. Put the 9, Calm Down Kimmy, as a new trainer here, Sheldon Paldinius. And, he's training for Harris Farms. So I can't say I know anything about Sheldon Paldinius. But, if he's training for Harris Farms, he probably knows what he's doing, and Harris Farms is a serious operation, and they're giving this guy a chance here with the 9 horse. This horse has had some really fast works down in Pleasanton. They're not training down in Pleasanton anymore, so they moved this horse over to Los Al with some fast works. We'll see if those fast works translates to a win in this restricted maiden race. That's why I feel he's dangerous. Kyle Frey takes the call. Certainly the right kind of rider for this kind of race. 6-1, we'll put the 9, Calm Down Kimmy. And then finally, we'll put the 10 horse, Waiting for My Cue. This is for Blaine Wright, another first starter. Ricardo Gonzalez takes the call. Now, Wright certainly does well with first starters. He can get it done. This horse had some nice works. 5-1 in the program. These outside posts have been nice in these kind of races where these horses, if they break cleanly, they kind of watch the race unfold in front of them. They could stalk if they want. They sit back a little bit, and they finish up. So in this race, I've got the 1, 4, 7, 9, and 10. All right, now let's go to the last race of the day. Last race being the 11th race. And it's a marathon card here. Last race of the day has a post time approximately 6:08 Pacific. So that's 8:08 here in the Central Time Zone. And we're finishing up with a mile grass race. Maiden special weights. These are California bred horses. So these are 3 and up. And, nice big field here, running a mile on the grass. There's a horse here that, on paper and also his film looks to be outstanding. I think he'll get over bet. We see a lot of chaos in these last races of the day at Santa Anita. It has happened this weekend. So that's being the 6 horse. I'm going to put the 6 horse in. This horse ran an outstanding race last time. He's 3-1 in the program. Ricardo Gonzalez takes the call again. It's Carla Gaines' trainee. Now, this horse was a bet down horse last time. This horse, I don't recall what the program odds are a little high. They bet this horse down to 3-1 that day. There definitely was some steam on Winning Patriot. I know this comes out of a winning family. Patriot CH has produced some winners. This horse being by Ohm. We've seen a lot of good work out of that sire, Ohm, in the cow ranks. This horse ran a huge race that day. Ran like a really, really big baby, and which is surprising. This horse is 4 years old, and just showed a world of talent. Ended up getting beat by Anand, who Anand was more than ready to go that day. Anand ran a super race, but I thought Winning Patriot ran a really big race as well. 3-1 here today. I think this horse will get bet down a lot harder than 3-1. I could see this horse, being, under 2-1. And who knows? Certainly talent is there, but as we see, these horses do get beat, especially in the last races of the day. But I will put the 6, Winning Patriot. I'm also going to put the 8, Sonio Divino. And this for Peter Miller, and Irad Ortiz takes the call. And I'm hoping Ortiz sticks around for the 11th race. Putting this horse in. This horse ran with Winning Patriot. Now, he was 99-1 that day, and I thought he ran a really big race. He really outran his odds. I thought he ran a super race. This horse has run some nice races in his past. The switch to Irad Ortiz, never know. He can get the best out of this horse. If something doesn't work out with Winning Patriot, you could definitely see Sonio Divino end up, being right there at the wire. So we'll put the 8 horse at 6-1. And then finally, I'm going to put the 9 horse, who is Fight Back. And I'm grudgingly putting this horse in. This horse is Simon Callahan trainee. Umberto Rispoli takes the call. Now, this horse has been running in this level, for a while. He's a 4-year-old now. He's run some good races, and then he just runs flat races. Last time he ran in that same race with Anand, Winning Patriot, and Sonio Divino. And, he had a very troubled trip that day. Ran a nice race. They're putting Rispoli on the horse. We've seen Rispoli, when he gets on horses, he definitely improves them, especially on the turf. So I don't want to get beaten by a Simon Callahan horse who does seem to have a little bit of ability in a race, that could, throw up some chaos here. So I'm going to put the 6, 8, and 9 here in the last race of the day. All right, now let's recap the day and recap the tickets. Okay, so for Memorial Day, May 26th, we've got a late pick 5 as well as a couple win bets. So let's start out 5th race. I've got the win bet on the 2 Paradise Lake with Frankie Dettori. Let's move to the 7th race. The 7th race starts the late pick 5. We're going to go with the 4, 5, 6, and 8 with the single of the 4 extensive, with the 5, 7, 9, with the 1, 4, 7, 9, 10, with the 6, 8, and 9. Now that pick 5 ticket today costs $90. It's really a single on the 4 extensive. And then we've got the 2 win bets. In the 5th race, the 2 Paradise Lake. In the 8th race, the 4 extensive. So if you see fit, you want to play this as is, be my guest. If you want to play the pick 3s within it, play the pick 4 within it, make the win bets. Whatever you decide to do, I wish you the best of luck in your plays. Let's wish the folks over at Santa Anita a very safe day of racing here in Memorial Day. And let's wish ourselves some good trips, get some good results, and maybe some wins, and we'll end this week on a high note. So again, I thank you so much for watching Fast Horses today. You can like, dislike, make comments. I promise to respond to everyone. Please hit that subscribe button if you hadn't done so. I appreciate those who have hit the subscribe button recently and those who've done it a long time ago. Thank you so much. And let's finish up this week strong at Santa Anita, the great race place. And again, happy Memorial Day to you and your family.